like a workhorse, easy to ride," her husband mocked during the divorce trial. But the moment his wife took off her dress, the courtroom gasped. My husband said that loud enough for the whole room to hear. His lawyer didn't even flinch. I just stood there in this ugly gray blazer I'd worn to every single one of his company dinners for 8 years. Every holiday party where he'd introduce me as my wife and immediately turn to talk to someone else. Every client dinner where I smiled on cue and made him look like a man who had everything together at home. The workhorse line got a quiet laugh from his side of the room. One of his colleagues was there as a character witness. The guy had been at our house for Thanksgiving twice, ate the food I made. I watched him smirk and look down at his notepad like he was trying to hide it. I didn't react. I had been waiting 4 months for this exact moment and I wasn't going to spend it on my face. Here's how it actually started. 3 months before he filed, I was doing our taxes on the shared laptop. We'd always done them together, but that year he kept putting it off, kept saying he'd get to it, and eventually I just sat down and opened TurboTax myself. That's when I found the second folder. It wasn't hidden exactly, just nested inside a folder called Insurance Docs 2019, like he figured I'd never go looking there. Spreadsheets, transaction records, $340,000 moved into an account I had never seen before, spread over 4 years in amount small enough not to trigger anything. $1,200 here, $4,000 there. Once a single transfer of $18,000 on the same week. We had a fight about whether we could afford to replace the water heater. I sat there for probably 20 minutes just staring at the screen. My coffee went cold. I didn't close the laptop. I took photos of every single page with my phone. Then I closed it, went to bed, and didn't say a word. The next morning, I called my cousin Dana. Dana's a forensic accountant. She does fraud investigation for a living, and she is not a person who panics. I sent her everything, and she called me back 2 hours later and said, "Okay, this is actually really clean work for someone who thought they were hiding it." She meant that as a bad thing for him. We spent the next 6 weeks building the paper trail. Dana pulled records I didn't even know existed, cross-referenced transfers with dates, found the name attached to the account by week 3. Her name was Brooke. She worked at the commercial real estate firm his company used. They'd been seeing each other since year 2 of our marriage. I found her Instagram that night, a photo from a resort in Tulum from a trip he'd told me was a work conference. I didn't confront him. I didn't change my behavior at all. I kept making dinner, kept asking about his day, kept wearing the same gray blazer to whatever event required me to stand next to him and look like his life was in order. Every time I almost said something, I thought about Dana's spreadsheet and I shut my mouth. When he finally served me the papers, I called my attorney the same afternoon. Her name is Carol and she has been doing family law for 22 years. She said, "Bring me everything Dana put together." She went quiet reading through it and then said, "He has no idea you have this, does he?" I said no. She said, "Good, keep it that way." We walked into that courtroom prepared. I wore the gray blazer on purpose, over a dress I'd bought specifically for this day. Deep burgundy, fitted, the kind of thing he always said I didn't have the figure for. I wanted to look exactly like what he expected when he opened his mouth. I wanted him comfortable. I wanted that smirk. His lawyer went first and built the whole case around the idea that I had contributed nothing, that I was a dependent, that I had spent 8 years being carried by a man who'd built everything. The workhorse line was the closer. A little courtroom theater. His lawyer sat down looking satisfied. Then Carol stood up. She requested permission to submit a financial exhibit. The judge nodded. Carol placed the binder on the evidence table and handed copies to opposing counsel. I watched his lawyer open it, watched him go still on the first page. He turned to my husband and said something I couldn't hear. My husband looked down at the binder. That's when I stood up, unzipped the blazer, and laid it across my chair. The judge looked up from his copy of the exhibit. $340,000 in documented transfers over 4 years. Every transaction cross-referenced with dates and source accounts. His signature or digital authorization on every single one. And the name on the receiving account with 3 years of corroborating communication Dana had helped locate through the financial records. His lawyer asked for a recess. My husband's face had gone the color of copy paper. The judge denied the recess. Full story on the channel linked below.